So I'm gonna try to get this to work here real quick. I just have to find out. All right. So let's see here. What do I need to watch? Let me look and see if there's something on my Reddit. Is this one here? Okay. The Riot League MMO video? Yeah, I guess I should probably watch that. Ex-pimp, homeless, and whoreless. Hashtag pimp lives matter. I'd give him $5. The collecting experience. Oh, doesn't this like lag out my game whenever I play something? Let me see if it does. I'll spend $500 tomorrow, and if I don't get it, I'm probably gonna quit the game. So, yep. True, and like this is the thing, ultimate MMO time loop. No, this actually, I know what they're gonna say in this, and they're totally right. Let me close the game while I do this. Asmongold has found the ultimate MMO time loop. Find new game, complain about pay to win, react to others complaining about pay to win, download the game, and pay to win. Abandon the game. React on retrospective on pay to win in the game. Pick new game, return to step 1. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we go through the whole thing. Yeah, no, it's I actually think about this, right? I'm like, okay, well, after I do this, that's what I did with Diablo Immortal. I did that with Lost Ark. I do that with every game. You know, it's like you just have to get them coming and going, and also you complain about it while you're doing it. I think that's perfect, man. Going through gambling roll screen over and over makes me want to die inside. I hope this person understands how much money I'm spending every single time that I do one of them. Every single click that I do in the game is like $20. It's $20 every single time. 22? No, I was thinking about it later on because you actually get extra black nucleus. You get extra black matter or dark matter items with the $100 purchase. So like you get 1,300 extra and you get 6,300 base. So you actually, it's like $19 if you're buying them at $100 at a time, which is obviously the smart thing to do. You know, obviously a smart thing to do. You want to buy it at 100 at a time. That way you get the... I can't even fucking say that. Okay. All right. 100% cash up and item you want to get. It's really the gaming community that caused this. No, it's not. The thing is, like, the gaming community... I'll let me talk about this for like maybe fucking like 5 minutes, okay? Because obviously a lot of people have talked about the game a lot. Let me just put on some music. Where the fuck? This new mouse, by the way, is really, really good. I'm very happy with the new mouse that I got. Okay. What mouse? It's a Razer mouse. I went to the store and I bought it. It's the Razer, fucking, what does it say? FC resistance? Which one is this? Yeah, which one is it? Basilisk? Yeah, I know. I plugged this shit in, and I wasn't going to use it. I just plugged it in to take a picture of it with it turned on, right? And so I do that, and I unplug it, and it doesn't turn off. Because the battery lasted so long, it sat in like a, it was like a laundry bin for 5 days. It wouldn't turn off. So yeah, it's got good battery life. Other than that, yeah, my SteelSeries 1 stopped working, so I have a new one. And I got a new chair too. Yeah, I did. I didn't really like my old chair. It was problematic in a lot of ways. The old chair had some advantages this one doesn't have. But overall, I mean, that's why I'm sitting in this one. Just for complete transparency, it's not part of my contract to sit in this chair. it's not. Like, it's an honest decision. Like, I could have stuck with my old chair and it would not have mattered. It's not like I was required to do it. And so, yeah, so Tower Fantasy wants to see Booba. No, we'll get to that soon in a minute, okay? But yeah, it's good. Anyway, let's see here. MMO content loop. You said it had no padding? It had too much and not enough at the same time. It was pretty annoying. Yeah. Sure. I mean, why would I lie? I mean, like, why would I go out of my way to lie about it? I mean, like, why would I do that? Like, I don't get a commission if they sell a chair. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I'm just telling you what it is. Okay, anyway. So let's see here. This really feels like watching a gambling addict. Oh, you'll see a gambling addict soon. We'll get into it. Nazgo's State, yeah. Quit playing like a hero. See yourself long enough to become a whale. True. Really is gaming community that's caused this. Take Rocket League, for example. When Rocket League went free to play, they got the old key system. There was a typical gambling mechanic, and sent went to blueprint system where you could spend money to get the item you want. RL community was furious. They blew up the Rocket League Reddit for months. How bullshit it is. They could potentially get $20 black market cosmetic for $1 if they roll on keys. I don't really know. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard for people to understand like where I'm at with games like this. So to me, I view these games to be. I'm gonna say it. I think that they're extremely like. Every video game, there should be 2 rules with video games, and I think that it should be legally required. I think that it should be legally required that whenever you buy something in the video game, there are no secondary currencies. So there's no crystals, there's no dark nucleus, there's no red nucleus, there's no black nucleus, there's no gold nucleus, there's no platinum, there's no crystals, there's no royal crystals, there's no blue crystals, there's no, different point system, there's none of this. All you do is you spend your USD to buy an item that has a 100% guarantee. So, like, if you want to buy, the gold character, it's $30 on the shop. It's not, 15 different rolls of the dice and maybe you'll get it. So those are the 2 things that I think need to happen. Get rid of all of the, fucking currency inflation that's supposed to obfuscate how much money somebody's spending in the game. Just get rid of all that. Just literally make it illegal to do it. Like, I don't know why they don't do that. It seems pretty easy. It's obvious why they're all doing it. I don't know how, but you can have something like this. Is kind of like one way that I look at it is that what is the upside for the consumer? There is literally no upside for the consumer. There's no upside for the consumer that there are 5 different currencies in the game that make it harder for them to know how much money they're spending. It's deliberately put in the game to manipulate you, right? And so that's why I don't think you should be able to do it. Second thing is that I think that games should be able to be pay to win. I think you should be able to make a game, and if you want your game to be pay to win, that's totally fucking fine. I think that you have the right to make a pay to win game. However, I think that you have to know what you're paying to win. So that means no loot boxes, no gambling, no opening something that has a chance to have something else. It's you buy something, it's that item explicitly, and it is only that item. There are no pleasant surprises, there are no disappointing outcomes. You just buy that one thing and that's it. So those 2 things I think need to happen because those 2 things I think are consumer unfriendly practices. They tap into gambling addiction. Every game taps into some degree of OCD addiction for a lot of people, right? It certainly does. However, I think this is much more overt. There is a lot of precedent for, other types of legislation and regulation regarding gambling, and I think it should be extended to games that have those 2 things. That's boring. Gambling's fun. Yeah, I think that that's fine. I mean, if it was up to me, nobody would gamble, right? Do I think that do I think I have the legal moral authority to tell people that nobody can gamble? I don't know, maybe. But let's just be realistic here. It doesn't matter because that's never going to happen. I think that gambling is one thing, but the truth is that over So basically over half of the games in like the Apple Play and the iOS store, it's like 60% or something like that, have loot boxes in them. And these are like the top 100 best games, or like highest grossing games. And out of that 60% that does have loot boxes, 80% of those games are marketed towards kids. So the problem is not really that there is gambling. The problem is that it is gambling disguised as gaming that is being marketed to children. So those are the two things that are an issue. That it's explicitly not gambling, and it is obfuscated in a way that a person who is uninitiated to the language would not understand it to be gambling, and also that it is marketed towards kids explicitly. And of course it's being designed to be addictive. That's why they pay like psychiatrists and doctors and people to make the games as addictive as possible. So that's what it is. They should advertise it as such. Yes, exactly. And so that's what I really think. And in general, the way that what I want to see happen is, I think that the best way to do that is what happened with Diablo Immortal. Everybody plays it, people freak out about it, and you know, sunlight is the best disinfectant. I think that's really it. And so, trying to justify pay to win? No, I don't need to justify it at all. Because the fact is, like, I'll do content, like, I don't need to justify anything because I mentally have no reservations about doing something morally wrong. If I'll do something morally wrong if I think it's funny for content. I don't really care as long as I think I can get away with it. So there's no, like, I don't need to rationalize this to myself because I don't need that validation. I don't care. And I've always done things this way. Like, like I made guides on how to ninja loot 5 years ago, right? I mean, this has been a very, very common behavior for me for a long time. What do you think the upsides of pay to win is? I guess it's okay if you don't have a lot of money, but you know, you still want to compete on the same level as people that play the game 10 hours a day. I could see the pay to win being an advantage for you. I don't think that's, you know, a good thing, but yeah, of course that's an advantage for that person. Sure. Fun for rich people with no jobs. Yes. And so, does that make sense? Yeah, does that make sense? Oh, you do more gacha? Absolutely. It's funny to watch. Loot boxes generate massive profits. How to replace those profits if you ban Gamba? Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of things, right? I mean, like, I could make, like, a very extreme analogy, like saying that, you know, like, you're able to make a lot more money if you have people that are working as slaves or people that you're paying under minimum wage, but there's a certain level that you just can't do that. So I think that, like, because something makes a lot of money, that's not a very good reason for it to exist, because stealing makes a lot of money. Like, for example, if you go to the store and you steal a TV, you save a ton of money. Like, you're saving like $1,000. The same as like if you do other things too. Like if you download Windows, you pirate Windows, you're saving money. There are a lot of things that you could do to save money. So like in any other, what I'm saying is, like, in any other logical paradigm in society, because something makes a lot of money is not a rationalization or a justification for it innately. See what I'm saying? Wait, you can buy Windows? Yeah, like Home Depot. Use AdBlock on Twitch, you save money? Yeah, exactly. Like, I think it's very easy to say that AdBlock... I think that using AdBlock, in my opinion, is to some degree... what's the word for it? Unethical. Because everybody knows that YouTube and Twitch and everything, they make a ton of money off of ads, and if nobody watched ads, then you would not be able to have the website, right? It's like if every single person used ad block and they were unable to serve any ads to anyone, then the website would cease to exist. So functionally, ad block users rely on other people not using ad block to do that. It's the same as like Pornhub relies on people paying for porn in order to get it for free for other people. And I understand, like, by the way, I'm using ad block right now. I don't want ads. I hate ads. And I make content. So, I know that I am engaging in something that is unethical. I just don't care. Steal it and smile. Don't steal it and tell me that you have a fucking justification for it, okay? That's all I'm asking. Anyone know the alternate browser blocks ads or just hides them? I have no idea. I guess that would only matter really if you're worried about your data usage. It's not unethical. I think that you can make an extremely strong argument that it is unethical. I have not received a single argument that I think is that justifies doing it on a ethical or moral level. Yeah, I have not. But now maybe there is one. I just haven't seen it before. I have not read it before, but in like all my time of reading, like, you know, and like this came up, the topic came up because of Linus Tech Tips talking about it on a podcast, and I responded to that, and people got mad at me, they got mad at him. And I think that a lot of people, you know, they have like this weird idea in their mind that like, oh, well, I have to be morally good. I can't ever be doing the bad thing. Well, they're like fucking tweeting and like talking about this and like complaining and talking shit to me on their fucking Apple phone that's like made by slaves in third world countries, wearing Nikes that are made by slaves in other third world countries, you know, fucking that are like locked into like a Foxconn warehouse in Malaysia, and they can't fucking do anything, and they can't kill themselves because they put nets on the fucking different stories of the building. Like, I fucking hate it. It's so annoying, and it's completely fucking hypocritical. However, I think that a lot of people just don't want to... Oh, look it up, by the way. Nothing I said was wrong. Malaysia might not have been the place that it happened in, to be fair. You know, if it was not, then, you know, apologies to anybody from there. That's it. Is it unethical to not donate to street performance? Same concept, in my opinion. I think that the difference is that street performance is a public, it's public, right? So, like, you don't have to opt into observing a street performance. Whereas in the same case, you do opt into watching a stream because you click the button. So, like, if you're walking by the street, like, that exists in the public. These streams do not exist in the public space in the same way. So you can't logically make that argument, I don't think. But that's interesting. As a like TV where it didn't track all your information, it'd probably be more accepted. That's not true at all. People left TV because of the ads. Would you watch the ad in the stream, and how much money did that make? I have no idea. I don't even check how much money I make. It just goes in my bank account. I'll see it like every few months. Twitch is pretty public. Yes, but you opt into it, right? It's kind of like, for example, so here's an example. So I would view like a street performance is different from like getting waited on at a restaurant. So like if you tip at a restaurant, you opted into that service in a way that you did not opt into walking by a performer. Do you see what I'm saying? So like one service exists in the public organically, the other one you opt into. You don't opt into it if you don't agree to anything when you watch Twitch. Twitch is a free public platform. I don't know. I don't know why are you trying to obfuscate and pretend like the obvious is not true? If nobody watched ads, the website would not exist. Why are we trying to play games here? Like, everybody knows this. So TOS. Also, if you want to be very specific, by looking at the website and using the website, you do comply by the TOS, and they can remove you for that reason. And so, yeah, they'd find another way to monetize. Of course, it would exist. I don't think so. I think that there are many things that stopped existing because they couldn't be monetized properly. Unfortunately, one of those is fair MMOs. That's why we started this conversation. Isn't that interesting? Really available content has to be paid for somehow. Yeah, exactly. Twitch can 100% exist without the ads. They take 50% of subs. And how much of that is so you might not understand this, but like whenever you so in order to use like MasterCard, Visa, and like a lot of these payment processing programs, Twitch doesn't make as much money off of subs as you think they do. Like I would assume that Twitch probably makes less than half of the amount of money that they charge for a sub. So like let's say you get a $5 sub and they get $2.50, and that's assuming that the streamer doesn't have 70%, which it's very clear that Twitch is trying to pull back that 70%, right? Because that's what they've tried to do with the ad incentivization program. So it's very clear that Twitch subs, my understanding, this is what somebody told me. I understand I cannot provide a source, so you might not want to just listen to me for whatever reason, is that Twitch makes like 29% out of the 100% of dollars for a $1 sub, or sorry, $5 sub. So 70% on a sub is like their break even. They can't go any higher than that. Did you agree with Linus? Yes, I did. I did. I agree with Linus that ad block and not watching ads is unethical. And I continue to use ad block because I don't care, because ads are annoying. Seems fine to me. Yeah. So that's yeah. And again, I have not seen a single argument that changes my mind, and I've read a lot of them because I think that it's a very interesting topic. Is bullshit? It's not unethical? Yes, and those are the arguments that I have read, and it's bullshit is not a very compelling argument to me. Ads tracking is also unethical. We're all unethical, so who cares? Well, it's not unethical because you opt into it. So, like, a person... Like, if you engage in a program and you willingly partake in a program, now, you can make the argument that them not disclosing how much that the ads are, you know, taking information away from you, right? Because some people might not understand that. You can argue that that is unethical as well. However, is one thing being unethical a justification for you to be unethical towards that thing? So, like, for example, if you feel like there's a company that exploits third world labor or does something else that's very bad, does that give you the justification morally to go and steal things from their store? I would say it does not. I think that it does not. I feel like a lot of people, again, are looking for justification. Ads themselves are unethical because they're displaying content you didn't engage in. I think that you did engage in that content by the nature of you explicitly interacting with that website in particular, and that website having a paradigm of content creation and content delivery that includes the ads. So by the nature of you including and watching that video, you, I think, also consent to watching anything else on YouTube that is part of their program. Chat has bad arguments, Smiles. Yeah, I know. I don't even know why it is an argument. I don't know why people can't just say, yeah, I'm stealing. Who gives a fuck? Why do you have to be morally right about everything? You're not. I can guarantee you you're not. If we're all ethical, life would be terrible. Yeah, it's way more fun. Way more fun to pirate things. True. True, true, true. There's no real reason to be an ethical consumer. Minimize your impact, which isn't entirely futile. I think so, and people can say that about being a vegan. People can say that about not, you know, not buying Nestle products, not buying Kellogg's products. You know, recently there's been a big Amazon, you know, strike, and, you know, they're trying to unionize and everything like that. So is it unethical to buy things from Amazon? I think you can make an argument that it is. However, we're all on an Amazon website right now, and I would argue that all of us right now are contributing to the success of Amazon at the expense of workers. I think you can make that argument, absolutely, because they make money. Like, and so is there no ethical consumption? I don't think that's entirely true, but I think that there are different gradations of it, and there's different, you know, there's like a stratosphere of like bad things that you can and can't do, and I think The problem is that whenever somebody draws their line and then they expect everybody else to live up to their line. I think that's what the issue is. Just let people make their own decisions, and I think that's the best idea. I used to be a delivery driver for Amazon. Fuck them. Well, I don't know. Let's see here. You're sponsored by Tower Fantasy? No. Hopefully they I think they should pay me to play the game. Yeah, I think they should pay me to play the game. Every time I log on, I think they should pay for all of my gacha rolls. So now I watch you play the game. Now I'm getting its ads on YouTube and Reddit. Big companies trade your info. Yes, but like... So, I don't know if that's necessarily an outcome of you watching my stream. Now, I think you can say that it is, but is it also not unreasonable that a game that just released has an advertising campaign that exists on YouTube and Reddit on its own? I don't know. I think it's like people think like, oh wow, like let's say they have a number that's like their lucky number and they see that number more regularly than other numbers. It's like a confirmation bias thing. So I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. It probably, to be honest with you, it's probably both. So let's go ahead and let's watch this thing, okay? Did I read all these comments here in those possibilities? Musics, swear never play Genshin Impact, paid millions. Tower Fantasy also did a game. Wish them luck. Yeah, of course, it's a new game. Enthusiastic. Okay, another one. Here we go. Yeah, exactly. Shotnoid SSR selector you get. Yeah, you can only get that at 700 points. Okay. Watch some Genshin character demos. Yeah, we'll see what happens, okay? I don't know if I want to watch this one today as well or not. The Ashes of Creation video. I think I'll watch the Riot video today. Let me make sure that I didn't miss anything. I'll scroll down. Yeah, a lot of people have wanted to see that video. What the fuck? Oh, I'm on the wrong channel. I don't know if I click on this if it'll show anything. One time I accidentally leaked how much money we made on YouTube, and so I'm gonna try to avoid that. Give me 1 second. Okay. Which was it? It's $100,000. Okay. Drink. Watch the new Asmongold video. That one's good. Yeah, I bet it is. Okay. Let's go watch the Greek God video. I don't know when I'm gonna watch that or not. Yeah, let's go ahead and watch the Riot MMO video. And maybe the Throne and Liberty video too. I'm not sure yet. Okay, where the fuck is it? Fuck it, I'm just gonna look it up. Be like the top one, yeah. Okay, here we go. So this video, people have asked me to watch this ever since it came out. And I've just been doing other things, and I didn't really get an opportunity to. So now we're gonna watch it. Here we go. Oh yeah, I agree with the vaccine. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the TwitchCon stuff. About them adding in the requirement to be either like vaccinated and then like you had to wear masks inside. I'll probably talk about that. Talk about that after this. If you guys remember me to do it. All right, here we go. Let's watch it. The World of Riot's MMO's already done. This has been like the most requested video fucking reaction I've probably ever had. Okay, here we go.
In the past, MMOs were regarded as the godfathers of games. They were the peak of what developers could accomplish. Even though, looking back, that's a fairly subjective thing to say. Everyone knew MMOs had the power to create cult following, but also everyone knew making MMOs was hard. On average, an MMO has to spend at least 6 years in the baking before it can get anywhere near being good.
Isn't that sad? Like, you spend 6 years on a game and then it just like dies in 2 weeks. Like, I mean, whenever you really think about that, that's pretty fucking depressing, man.
But that didn't stop companies from jumping onto the
Yeah,
bandwagon
it sucks.
anyway. And soon we could see dozens of new MMOs,
Wow.
all releasing in 2008.
Yep.
All being called the WoW killers.
Did not
Spoiler
happen.
alert, none of them did that. And unfortunately...
Well, actually, there was a game that that came out in 2008 that did end up being at least the beginning of the WoW Killers. That was called Wrath of the Lich King.
we can feel the ripple effects even now. It got to a point where every time a new MMO is announced, we all think the same thing. Oh. Anyway, when you're working on an MMO, you have to respect 3 pillars. Gameplay is king, social interactions matter, and the world setting is important.
I think that's actually a really... This is like a very forehead way of explaining it, but I think this is actually perfect. This is a great list. I probably could not come up with a better top 3. This is a very, very good way of saying it.
When Riot announced their MMO, it became clear that 2 of the pillars are being respected,
Yeah.
and the third one is already done. When it comes to the gameplay, it is currently in the hands of Zackrawrr, someone who's been working on WoW during its best times, and
True.
someone who got a reputation for
To be fair, everybody hated Ghostcrawler whenever, in like Mists of Pandaria, everybody hated him until he was gone, and then they're like, wait a minute, come back. That's the same with every single fucking person.
hating boomkins and loving mages.
And
When it comes to the soul
S-Fan has like a personal vendetta against Ghostcrawler because Ghostcrawler one time said that, like, Paladins sucked and he wanted to, like, nerf Paladins.
social interactions, it is a dance between the developers and the
Yeah,
players.
he didn't like
A
that
dev
one.
can guide players towards social interactions,
Yeah.
or they can annihilate them. And after that, the players usually find their own fun inside the MMO. From that point on,
True.
the devs should do everything in their power to support the players having fun in their own way. And finally, when it comes to the
Yeah, that's why they added more new models for the Worgen, so all the furries in the game can have their own kind of fun. And yeah, I would say that like with that game and like with Final Fantasy, I think Final Fantasy does a much better job with social interactions. Like, just in general, I think Final Fantasy has less friction, so there's less negative social interactions, and it also has, like, more avenues to have positive ones, like housing and stuff like that. So, I think that more and more people... Like, there's probably not that many people that are ERPing in WoW anymore because they've moved over to Final Fantasy. And can you blame them?
world of an MMO, in Riot's case, it's done. And it's been finished for quite a few years now. In fact, the world of Riot's MMO is in such a good state, they already have the continents, the zones, the cultures, and the
Wow.
races. And to a lesser degree, every zone already has its own storyline.
I'll
Now,
go on
of
this one.
course,
This one's cool.
unless you follow the lore of League of Legends, you wouldn't know about this. And
Yeah, like, I don't know any of the lore of League at all. I have literally no idea. The only thing I know about League's lore is that there's, like, hot girls in the game. That's it.
that's why I decided to make this video. I want to show you all the zones we are going to see in the MMO
Okay.
and what sorts of quests we are going to do there.
Let's
So, for the purpose of this video, I will assume you have no idea what League of Legends is about. You have no
All right.
idea what the
Good
universe is
start.
about, but you like
Yes.
MMOs, your hairline is receding, and you have a crippling fear of Nintendo 64 controllers.
I don't know how I could be afraid of them. I've got one on my head.
To which I might add, why do you think I'm wearing hats? But now, without further ado,
Thank you.
let's
Yep,
have a look at
there
all
you
the
go.
zones.
And that is so fucking true. Almost every guy, like, I don't, it's fucking Keemstar is the worst one. He's been doing it longer than anybody. Oh, Keemstar always wears a hat? Yeah, why is that?
In Riot's MMO.
Yep, Tecton's another one. Yep.
This is Runeterra, the world
Summit?
of
No,
League of
not
Legends.
Summit. That's what makes me
Right
mad about
now,
Summit.
the world is separated
Okay,
into 10
so-
main regions.
Yeah.
But these 10 regions don't cover all the land on the map, so there are some mini-zones in between them. And the lore already revealed that there is gonna be another continent further to the east. That
Cool.
definitely sounds like a future expansion to me.
It's
In
lit.
fact, it would be foolish to release all of these regions at launch. You can easily turn half of these into separate expansions. And because a lot of people already know and love these regions, the hype behind these expansions would be big. With that said, I know
That's actually a good idea. Yeah, I think the more that you kind of... Like, whenever WoW came out, for example, we knew there was the Outland, and we knew there was Northrend, and the game didn't come out with either one of those. And also Kazan, the Goblin area. And there were many other places in WoW that we didn't have access to, too. I just can't think of it in Warcraft, like Grimbatal, for example.
a lot of you would like to play
Dragonite, yeah.
as Shrimans or Ionians. And now you may be cursing me for suggesting that these would be expansions. But the lore can justify giving you these nations as playable races without having their regions. I'll show you how Riot can pull this off in a bit. First, let's talk about the regions Riot's MMO has to start with. The Northern Continent. This entire continent is called Valoran.
Okay.
Not Valorant, Valoran. And this is
I think it's not the same thing, but let's be honest, I think we know where they got the name from.
where the absolute core of this world is. The two main regions here are Demacia and Noxus. They are the two big rivals equivalent to the Horde and the Alliance.
Okay.
While I would like to say that Demacia is your classic normie human region,
Yes.
it's not really true. Runeterra doesn't really have a normal place. There is something cool happening in every region.
Okay,
and
what does that mean?
Demacia has racism. Okay, maybe not racism,
That
because
sounds
Demacia
cool.
doesn't mind Yordles or Minotaurs, but they really hate mages. That's because in the
Oh, so it's like America and science. Or the church back in the day in Europe. Or actually, well, a lot of people hate science. Yeah, I mean, actually, I mean, to be fair, like, people fuck it everywhere. Like, that shit happens in the Middle East, too. Like, we don't have a monopoly on that dumbass shit here in America. A lot of it happens everywhere else, but still.
past,
That's
their
where we're
rivals
at.
almost annihilated half of the world using magic.
Yeah, so of course they don't like mages. Fucking duh.
And so, Demacia was built inside a magic-absorbing forest.
Okay.
Therefore, Demacia is a really cool place where you can hide from magic. When it comes to the visuals of the zone, you can see a lot of lush fields,
Okay.
it is surrounded by mountains, but the iconic part of Demacia are the buildings. They are made of petricite, which is a combination of stone and the magic-absorbing wood. Because these ancient magic-absorbing trees were grey, all the buildings have a marble-like appearance. And yes, given what material they are using, all the buildings in Demacia also absorb magic. So should a mage visit this region, let's just say it's gonna be a painful experience. On top of this, let's not forget that Demacians can weaponize petricite. They can turn it into petricite steel, which gives you your classic anti-magic weapons.
That's
And you can
badass.
sculpt petricite constructs, which wake up after absorbing magic. Simply said,
What the fuck? This is actually really cool. I didn't know any of this.
these guys just really
Wow.
don't like magic. The irony is, they've been absorbing it for years now. And this is where the story would kick in. You see, the Demacians are so afraid of magic, they founded the Mage Seeker Order. This is an order of people who hunt mages, they throw them into prison, and they torture them until their body gives up on magic. So yes,
Okay.
being a mage
Yep.
is a crime in Demacia. The thing
I like that a lot. I think that's really interesting. Yeah, I think that's fucking badass. Like, I love it whenever they have... It's like, obviously, there is, like, a level of real-life parallel that something like this has. And I really like how, like, in certain games, they're able to, like, capture that real-life parallel and not have it be this, like, weird, lampooned, like, one-sided version where it's like, this guy's just evil and that's all there is to it. like actually making it to be complex and interesting. I think that the best example is like Final Fantasy does this very well with like having the two sides of a conflict not necessarily be like one side is evil, one side is good. I think that's cool.
Is people still get naturally born with magical abilities. You can't stop it from happening. So not only are there mages hiding in the royal court, right now there is a mage civil war happening in Demacia, where mages and people who don't hate mages rise up to fight for moral rights. So should we do some quests in this zone? This is gonna be the core story.
Yeah, this is great.
Mages trying to overthrow racist leadership following old laws. So the main enemy NPCs might be mages and witches. But I know what you're thinking now, and don't worry. There will be plenty of boars to kill here too. Or at least there are loads of wolves here, as well as stags. And we can't forget the icon.
I don't think that they always have to make, and I hope that this isn't the case. I think that it's okay to have some areas and some races that are just morally wrong. Like, I don't think that, like, every end of every story should be that the good guys always win, because I think that it becomes predictable and boring. Like, you need to have the Empire Strikes Back. You have to have those.
Demacian raptors. But further to the south, we might find some crag beasts, tiny woolly elephants, and yes, of course, in the Argent Mountains, there are also dragons.
I love the art here. I think that the art's very, it's very, like, quintessential fantasy. I like that a lot.
Loads and loads of dragons.
Yeah, that's fucking
But that's
badass.
about it for Demacia. Fun fact, the capital city of Demacia is called the Great City of Demacia. Sounds dumb, but Runeterra was not the first one to come up with this. But thankfully the other regions are a bit more creative with their names. So now let's move away from the normie region and let's have a look at the badass region, Noxus. If you're planning on playing a warrior with oversized weapons and overcompensating lush hair, this is the region for you. This place actually has a long and badass history, but we really don't have the time to explain it now.
Right.
So just know that originally it was built by the most badass warrior in the history of Runeterra.
Alright,
this motherfucker literally died on a mountain of corpses. And after he died, he was too angry to stay dead, so he just became the god of the underworld. When this guy lived, he built the Immortal Bastion, which is to this day the largest structure on the entirety of Runeterra. And currently he is banished underneath the Immortal Bastion, but only a few people know about it. So, you know, that's a future raid boss. Anyway, the Immortal Bastion is the capital city of the Noxian Empire.
That's really cool.
With Noxus being one of the most brutal nations in Runeterra. It is brutal because the nation is surrounded by rocky earth. It is hard to grow plants here. So Noxians are forced into conquering surrounding land for resources to survive. That's why when you go to the map, you can notice that the Noxian territory is all over the place. It's because these are all the places Noxus has already conquered.
Goddamn right.
Although, when I say it like that, you may imagine Noxus brutally raiding everything.
Yes.
But that's not true. They like to absorb the surrounding nations into their empire. After all, it's just more human resources. Most of the time, they only remove the royalty and they let the leaderless people join their empire. And that's because Noxus values strength above all. And
I like this. This is cool. Yeah, again, I think it's super, super, super good to have different types of these like races and factions. I don't like how, like, in WoW, there's like not a lot of moral ambiguity in the game. I think it makes it kind of boring. I liked how the Forsaken in like vanilla WoW, even Sylvanas says like, yo, we're not really with the Horde, like we don't give a fuck about them, we're just out for ourselves and we just like killing people and this is what we do. And so that's it, right? Like Garrosh, yeah, exactly. Like WoW used to have moral ambiguities. Yeah, it's like, I don't know why. It's like people, maybe it's like writers and like the people in the, that like make these stories, they feel like the moral ambiguities have like real life parallels and they're like enabling people that agree with the real life parallels. Like, I don't know. I think it's very silly and childish, personally. I love to have, you know, actual morally gray things.
The rulers tend to not be good fighters. This is what you can see in the After Victory cinematic. They killed the king because he was weak and let everyone else join them. Fun fact, conquering nations is so iconic for Noxus they have their own saying. Kill them until they are family. So when it comes to the quests in Noxus, it is most likely going to be helping the Empire expand its territory. Although this region has its own unique enemies too. Inside the Immortal Bastion there is a cult known as the Black Rose. This cult is connected to the darkest of magics. So be ready to fight Hemomancers, witches, demons, and the Grey Legion, which is an army of soldiers revived with blood magic to fight for the Empire again. And when it comes to collecting 10 bear asses, here we have the native Drakehounds and Basilisks. Now, while Noxus and Demacia are the main rivals here, both of them are also constantly repelling raids from the north. So now, let's have a look at the Freljord. Just like pretty much any region on Runeterra, Freljord has a long history. But for the purpose of this video, just know that the maddening old gods known as the Watchers of the Void, who want to devour the entire reality only because it keeps waking them up, once tried to breach into reality here. They almost succeeded because they tricked the Ice Witch Lysandra into helping them. Fortunately, she realized how wrong she was, and she managed to freeze half of the kingdom with the Watchers still beneath them. So these days, the Ice Witch is the only person holding back the end of reality by keeping the Watchers frozen.
That's fucking cool. God damn, yeah. Sounds familiar? Yeah. This is fucking Ashara in WoW. Kind of.
So at some point in the future, you bet one of these woken up frozen Watchers is gonna be a raid boss. Now, when it comes to the NPCs, this is where things get diverse. First of all, remember that the Freljord is brutally cruel. Everything is frozen, and survival is everything. So the first enemy here would be the wildlife. From Rhymefangs to Yetis, to Druvasks, to Elnuks, to Mammoths, to the worst of them all, Poros. Next we are going to fight the Freljordians themselves. Right? There are 3 main tribes here. The Avarosans, who are quite peaceful, the Winter's Claw, who are quite brutal, and the Frostguard, Lysandra's followers who hold back the Watchers. And let me tell you, these guys have some badass armor. Among the notable tribes there are also the Ursine, which are shamans who worship the Volibear, the primal god of the wild who slowly turns his worshippers into twisted animalistic monstrosities.
That's cool.
Speaking of which, yes, there are also the primal gods of Freljord. And finally, we need to talk about the Iceborn. When the Watchers tried to arrive here, they tainted the ice around them. This special ice is called the True Ice. And it is so dangerous, you literally die if you touch it. However, the Watchers also tainted some people, giving them the ability to touch the ice. It is still extremely painful for them to hold a true ice weapon, but at least they can survive it. These people are known as the Iceborn. But people were not the only things that were tainted. There are also ice trolls, some of whom are also Iceborn. To be honest, these guys were made to have their own dungeon.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously that's what they were for. I mean, shit. Like, I mean, I think all this stuff looks really, really cool, man. Like, this looks really, really fucking cool. I like it a lot.
But there are also some animals that were twisted by the Watchers. Yeah, and Lysandra is even twisting some beings herself to make them serve her. So overall, Freljord is gonna have a lot of cool warriors, shamans, and horrors. So these would be the 3 regions on the main continent. But this place is actually so big it can easily make the base world of the game. Especially since there are a bunch of smaller regions in between them.
So this would be like the main...
There is full of witches, Argent Mountains with their dragons, Tokugol with void monsters, Dalamor Plains with him, and so much more. But from here, you can cleverly set up the expansions because of how well everything is interconnected.
Okay.
So now, let's have a look at the continent to the east called Ionia. Ionia has a very close connection to Noxus. You can only guess
Makes
why.
sense next to it.
It's because Noxians once tried to conquer it all during an event simply called the Invasion of Ionia. This was a horrible war full of using children as soldiers because Noxians thought Ionians wouldn't fight back against children. And
I love this. Like, this is what WoW used to have. It used to have absolutely fucking horrible, brutal shit. And they weren't afraid to do it. Like, if you go back to, like, Warcraft 2 and, like, Warcraft 3 and some of the books back then, like, bro, absolutely fucking savage, brutal, terrible things. Way more interesting.
And chemical weapons.
Stuff. Yeah, look at the old
lots and lots of chemical weapons. Speaking of which, remember Singed from Arcane? He's the guy who chemically devastated Ionia. Eventually, Noxus failed, but they kept their small controlled territories. So the first quest here could be simply boarding a ship, sailing over, and exploring the place for the Noxian Empire. Now, when it comes to Ionia itself, the place gets mystical. Everything here is alive and connected to the spirit of nature. Okay. And I mean everything, from the animals to the people to the buildings. Everything is alive. So if you anger Mother Nature, your house can twist and strangle you in your sleep.
I like that.
So you can only imagine how Mother Nature fought against Noxians. Usually a river came alive to drown them. That's why like all the buildings here look like they were woven from wood. It's because they were. With nature magic, people let nature build their houses. It also means that sometimes your house can just walk away. When it comes to the NPCs
that's the way it goes.
obviously
in real life
there's gonna be a lot of nature spirits. And a lot more of simply mystical animals. From giant flying tigers to the never-ending story. But be ready to also face flying tigers to the never-ending...
I love shit like this, dude. I think this is so fucking badass, man. That is so cool.
Story. But be ready to also face local Ionians, Blade Masters, Shadow Cultists, Murderers, and Ninjas. Both good, bad, and the in-between. But finally, there is also one more enemy that we could face. The Furries.
What?
That's right. This race is known as the Vastaya. They are half humans and half magical animals. And yes, canonically, the species was born in exactly the way you are thinking.
Okay.
But to be fair, the Vastaya are quite cool and they are definitely gonna be a playable race. Just like Yordles, who also like Ionia a lot. Lastly, after Noxians ravaged Mother Nature, demons started occupying all the places filled with misery and doubt. So that's gonna be a nice bonus enemy.
I remember watching this.
So yes, the exploration of Ionia and the raid on the Shadow Order could be a really cool first expansion. But it's definitely not Riot's only option, because we can also go south to Piltover and Zaun. These are the ones people will know about, simply because this is where Arcane took place. Piltover and Zaun are two massive cities located one above the other.
Okay.
And they are so massive they could easily be turned into their own playable zones. They are both focusing on futuristic technology powered up by magic of the Hextech gemstones. Using this magic, they can power up anything from guns to augmented limbs to vehicles. Visually, it is simply futuristic Victorian era.
So it's steampunk. Okay, great. Yeah, people love that shit.
And unfortunately, there wouldn't be much of enemy variety. We would likely fight the rich houses of Piltover and their deadly assassins, with the occasional thief on the streets, corrupt wardens, and the occasional rogue steam golem. But things get a bit more interesting in the undercity known as Zaun. Zaun is the dirty underbelly covered in thick toxic smoke. Because the majority of people are poor here, they developed a cheaper alternative to Hextech called Chemtech. This artificial green stuff can power up cheaper limb replacements, as well as highly unstable weaponry. Zaun is also controlled by the Chem Barons, which are obviously gonna be the main enemy here. But on the side, we may also meet some chemical mutants, unstable constructs, as well as some mass murderers and people who hunt down mass murderers. And funnily enough, at the very bottom of Zone
cool.
itself, there are the hidden ruins of an ancient city full of traps. That is obviously gonna be a cool dungeon.
Yeah, I honestly think this is very promising. I thought there were just like a few different zones. I didn't realize that it was so in depth. Like I thought there was like some lore to it, but it was like, yeah, like these are like the guys over here and the guys over there. Like I didn't know it was this complex. This is crazy.
Oh yes, there is not much more that I can add here. Piltover and Zone were simply explored in Arcane. So if you like the series, you are gonna like this place.
It's 13
From
years
here,
of League?
we
Yeah,
can travel
I guess so.
further south to Shurima. Shurima used to be a massive empire that ruled the
desert.
world. But after the Emperor got betrayed by his best friend, the entire empire collapsed. This region is a massive desert with the occasional city near a river. In the center of the region, there is the Sun Disk, a colossal piece of star metal that has the power to reflect celestial magic. The Shurimans use this celestial magic to turn their best soldiers into the Ascended, also known as the Golden God Warriors. However, these God Warriors wouldn't make a great enemy here. That's because after the Emperor had died, the Ascended started fighting for leadership. And slowly, after learning how to use blood magic to gain the edge, they morphed their own bodies and became the Darkin. Twisted, blood-frenzied monsters that would certainly make really cool raid bosses.
That's cool.
Besides this ancient evil, Shurima is also full of its own animals, raiders, dune scavengers, and on top of all of that, void creatures. That's because to the south, there used to be a kingdom known as Icathia that wanted to destroy the Shuriman Empire. So, they asked the Watchers for help.
Aren't they all the way up there, though?
That went. The Watchers sent through some void beasts that consumed Icathia and polluted Shurima to this day. To fight back the void, Shurima does have a lot of hidden tombs around with hidden God Warrior weapons. Not to mention that Shurima also has a circle of time mages who are trying to freeze the void in time. Now, as I mentioned near the beginning of the video, even if Shurima becomes an expansion, they can still easily make Shurimans a playable race because they are already connected to Noxus. As you can see, of course, Noxians already conquered part of Shurima.
Yeah.
So some Shurimans are fighting for Noxus.
That makes sense.
Also, as a cool fact, for those of you who liked Arcane, Hex Crystals are harvested in Shurima. That's why a Shuriman expansion would be a great follow-up to Piltover and Zone. And again, that's why Riot can easily turn only the northern continent into the base world. Anyway, going west from Shurima, we arrive at Mount Targon.
That's crazy, like, holy fucking shit, that's, like, oh my god. I'm just pausing it just to, like, take everything in. This is a lot, like, 12 years of world building, I know. Well, the crazy thing about this is, like, this is kind of what happened with WoW. Is that you had all the world building of Warcraft 1 through 3, you had all the books that were written about it too, and then, you know, there's a couple of other, like, you know, secondary games. Wasn't really that big of a deal though, and like, that's what made the foundation for WoW so strong. So, like, I'm seeing the same thing here.
Place is incredibly unique. First of all, this mountain is not natural. It was literally pulled up from the ground by celestial gods. And that's because this place serves as a portal to the celestial realm, also known as Targon Prime. Now, because this mountain was pulled up, it also has some unique features.
Okay.
For example, you may find frozen lakes frozen horizontally on the mountain. And the very peak of the mountain is special too. Should a mortal reach the peak despite the brutal climate and the deadly wildlife, either they die from exhaustion, or the celestial gods deem them worthy and they become an ascended aspect. There is aspect of war, aspect of the sun, aspect of the moon, aspect of the twilight, aspect of the guardian, and so on. Simply said, after people reach the peak, they become some of the strongest beings on the entire planet.
Holy shit.
Of course, the mountain is full of people who worship the celestial demigods. And I speculate this is where we could get a lot of cool armor sets. There
Yeah,
are the
looks that way.
Solari, who are devoted to the aspect of the sun. Then there are their rivals, the Lunari, who are devoted to the aspect of the moon. But also the tribe I assume will become a playable class, the Warriors of Zackrawrr.
Alright.
Of course, besides just humans, Targon also has all sorts of furry Vastaya. Near the bottom of the mountain you may notice that the mountain is alive. But also there are Stellarcorns, a variety of mind-bending creatures, and loads of dragons. Speaking of which, remember that this place is linked to the Celestial Realm. So this is where we may also meet the star-forging Celestial Dragon Aurelian Soul.
Oh my god! So this is fucking straight up, like, Bloodborne, Cosmic Horror, Lovecraft level gods. It's not like in WoW where there's like a god, but it turns out that it's a robot, for example.
As well as all sorts of other celestial beings. A lot of these would make for interesting bosses.
Yeah.
In fact, the ascension of Mount Targon would be a really cool raid. Next, on the other side of Shurima, there is Ishtal. This is a special place where people are mastering the elemental magic. They are using it for everything. Fishing, smithing, walking. And this place is definitely gonna be saved for an expansion.
Okay.
Basically, remember when Icathian asked the Watchers for help? And then that happened? Ishtal
Seems
was
like a
their
bad
neighbor,
time.
and after they saw the Void devour an entire kingdom, they believed the Void would soon devour the entire world.
Makes
So,
sense.
using their elemental magic, Ishtal built massive walls of plants around their entire region, isolating themselves from the rest of the world. For 3,500 years, Ishtal stayed isolated, believing that the world outside of their walls was devoured by the Void. But now, very recently, some mages found out that the world outside is completely fine. So now, the Ishtali mages are slowly revealing themselves.
Okay,
to be
that's
honest,
interesting.
Ishtal is the most underdeveloped region in Runeterra. We know the region has a lot of hunting Vastaya, deadly plants and some elemental dragons, but most of the region is still a mystery to us. So at least here, Riot will have the freedom to try something new.
I think what I like about this too is the fact that a lot of the storylines for this kind of stuff, like, they're not immediately like derivative of something else at a one-to-one level. Like, you have obviously the Rome thing, the kill them until they're family, like, but that's, the people have done that. Like, it's Alexander the Great did that, like, Persia did that, like, there's plenty of other times that that's happened. So it's hard to really, like, say that's one specific thing. But, like, in general, I like it because it is inside of, like, the meta narrative of a lot of these different places. You can see how there is a like a looming power conflict or some sort of power struggle or some sort of battle of morality or something like that inside of them, which makes it interesting.
But now, we leave the main continent to visit the last two
Political
regions.
intrigue, yeah.
First of all, there is Bilgewater. If you like pirate adventures, this is gonna be your place.
That's it, yep.
This is where we are going to explore inns and gambling dens, even some local temples worshipping the god of motion, Nagake Boros. Here we are going to fight pirates and sea monsters, sea witches, sea Vastaya, maybe some demons. And possibly we'll side with Sarah Fortune to fight the king of the pirates, Gangplank. But there's
Okay.
a lot more here. Last year, Riot released their RPG, which was set in Bilgewater. So not only can we already explore this place in detail, but it even has a monster journal.
Wow.
And at a quick glance, you can already see some really cool bosses too. However, this place is also linked to the last place I want to show you today.
Okay, what
the
is it?
Shadow Isles. See, every year the horrors of the Shadow Isles lurk out, and Bilgewater just happens to be the closest place. So every year, Bilgewater is fighting the undead. Once upon a time, the Shadow Isles used to be the Blessed Isles, a rich place full of advanced magic. Long story short, there was a young asshole king who wanted to revive his dead queen. And in the process, he accidentally released dark necromantic magic. This magic destroyed the island and made it home for undeath. In the lore, this event is called the Ruination. And because the RPG is called
Classic.
the Ruined King, it may not be a surprise to you that you also get to explore the Shadow Isles there. And there they have anything you can imagine. Undead horrors creeping everywhere. And
That's
should
cool.
we ever venture into these islands, I have no idea whom we're going to fight. The Ruined King who caused all of this is banished elsewhere. Thresh, who siphoned his magic after he was banished, also left the Isles. And even Hecarim, the most brutal soldier of them all, is currently around Demacia. So the Shadow Isles don't currently have a main baddie. So this is where Riot could push forward some of the side characters.
Yeah, it's a
Now,
good idea.
even though these have all been the regions that are currently set up on Runeterra,
I also don't think it's a bad idea to add in new characters. Like, the problem that WoW had for a long time, and I think this is less of a problem now, but it was for a while, is that almost all of the main characters in WoW were from Warcraft 3. And, like, the actual game, World of Warcraft, did a generally bad job at developing new characters to, like, go along with them. So, like, yeah, you like recently, yeah, you've had things like Denathrius. Like, Denathrius and Li Shin are two examples. Like, Li Shin was in one patch, fucking resurrected, and he is a fucking badass. Everybody loved him. Like, he came out of nowhere in the lore. They're like, yeah, by the way, there's the Thunder King. Denathrius, the same thing. I don't think you need to have every character be a, a pretty established thing.
Has already confirmed that there is a new continent further to the east. Currently, it is planned to be revealed in the upcoming Ruination novel. And so far, we know that this new continent is where the Ruined King Viego is from. And this is also where he was banished at the end of his story. All we know about that place is that it is quite mystical. There are yet more dragons here, and in fact, Kamavor, which is the Ruined King's nation, has a lot of draconic armor.
That's
so should
cool.
Riot run out of places to explore, don't worry, they can always make up more. But that's
it
all I
seems that
wanted to
way.
show you today. As someone who's been following the lore of League of Legends from the very beginning, I can tell you, I'm very confident the setting of Riot's MMO is gonna be great. Their incredible
I can
writers
see
have
why.
been preparing the world for years now. And now, it's time to harvest the fruit. If you like this video, let me know in the comments below. Because right now, I still have 3 more topics that I could talk about in regards to the MMO. I especially want to talk about the potential raid bosses we can face, and the potential classes we could play. And as someone who has collected an unholy amount of transmog, I would love to show you all the cool armor sets this universe has.
Yeah, I want to
But
see that.
That's it for this video. See you in 6 to 8 years when the MMO gets released.
Okay. Yeah, it'll come out after Ashes of Creation. I actually don't think it's as far away as people might believe. I don't think so. I mean, they probably wouldn't announce it. Like, I think it'll probably come out in 2 years. Probably 2 to 3 years, somewhere around there. That's what I would guess. Well, people have asked me to watch this ever since it came out, almost like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the video certainly didn't disappoint, man. I think this is fucking awesome. Like, as I said, I think that the best thing about this, in my mind, is the fact that the writers are not afraid to tell stories of actual morally gray actions. I think this is something that doesn't happen enough in storytelling nowadays, where it's like the good guys always win, you know, what a surprise, and it's just boring. I think that the reason why I thought fucking Infinity War was so good, spoiler alert, Thanos wins. He just fucking beats the shit out of all of them, and there's nothing they can do. It was awesome. And it was the same thing with Empire Strikes Back. And like, it's not about the whole thing in part 1. Yeah, well, that's what really matters. I mean, like, that could exist on its own. And so Endgame was trash. I didn't like Endgame a lot either. I thought it was a departure. But the point is that I think that it's like if you have the what's the word for it? If you have the confidence to write a story that way, I will feel much more confident that the writing that you're doing and like the stories you're telling will be much more interesting and compelling. I think the reason why stories like and there's no reason why like a pure evil and pure good story can't exist. You have things like Lord of the Rings. You have things like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Dio is a villain, and that's all there is to it. And they're great. They're incredible. But and there's also the Void Lords and the Lovecraftian horrors. I'm pretty sure the Void Lords, there's no real there's no real side of their story. They don't have like really a side of the story. It's just they are fucking annoyed that people are here, and that's all there is to it, right? So I think obviously there's a lot of there's a lot of examples of this that's out there. Berserk, I think Berserk is actually a different example. I think, like Berserk, how, Griffith is doing all these evil things and nobody knows about it because, like, Falconia is, like, a fucking, like, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's a utopia, right? It's a paradise, but only like, Guts and Casca and a few other people even know that, like, what Griffith really is. Like, I think that's also, like, a very, very compelling and interesting story. And that's what I'm really saying. Sick of seeing movies or games where always the good boys wins? Well, I don't think it's really that simple, but I think it's also, especially in an MMO, whenever you're telling a story, because, like, a lot of these stories are told in, like, a medieval... It's like a medieval setting, right? Or like a medieval fantasy setting, which is generally what this is. Like, there's not a lot of guns in here. While there are like steampunk type things, that's not really the main, function, and that's it. So in that scope, like what happened in the Middle Ages? Well, you had people getting burned alive for being witches. They burned Joan of Arc alive, for example. You have slavery. You have absolute fucking unchecked, unrepentant colonialism and just conquest and brutality that you can't even fucking imagine. And there weren't any guns. Yeah, like real fucking insane shit, right? And that's what I think is so compelling about, it used to be compelling about WoW, because you could see the good in the evil and you could see the evil in the good. And that's why I was so excited about Shadowlands. I don't want to go off on a WoW tangent here. I was so excited about Shadowlands whenever they started telling the story of the Kyrian and the Arbiter and like the path in that way, where you see the evil inside of the good. And it's like, wow, this is so cool. And it just never really got realized. And I hope that they can do that here too. I think that WoW's story has gotten too safe. That's why I think that characters like Garrosh were perfect. Like that's one of my favorite characters. They're amazing. And I hope that the League of Legends MMO or Riot MMO follows that same paradigm. Yeah, I fucking love that, man. And let's see here. I hope you watch Arcane. Yeah, I haven't watched Arcane at all. Let's see, Madan's best character. Yeah, sure. And which has the hottest girls? I don't know. I mean, I feel like every League of Legends character is hot. I mean, like, why do you think they, like, I mean, if it's not hot, then why are they gonna have like 10 different fucking costumes and like maid costumes for them? I mean, let's be real. So yeah. You ever watch the League cinematics? I might watch them whenever more news about this comes out and I can look at it myself. Yeah. I haven't watched all of Arcane. And just watch Lazy Peon's video about Ashes of Creation. Yeah, I might watch that. I'm probably not going to watch it today. I might watch it tomorrow if I feel like it. Why is it on Asmongold stream? I don't know. Like, I have a... so just so you guys know, I have the next dental work appointment. It's going to be on the 24th. And that is when, after that, I'm going to try to recover from that quickly. And I should be able to stream after that. I don't know how long it's going to take. If it's going to be a week after that, I have no idea. I'll let you guys know. But yes, there is a date for it. I made my appointment, and yeah, I'm excited. I am, and yeah, that's where we're at. And so, how can I stream right now? Because this is a low stress thing where I don't talk like this for the entire duration of the stream, and I think that's why I'm more okay with doing it. I don't want to see like. I want to upload regular things on YouTube. I mean, my editors, they get money from that too. And so, like, yeah, that's why. And anyway, so yeah, this is extremely fucking awesome. Like everything about this is extremely fucking like this has filled me with a lot of excitement. Like I'm very, very, very hyped right now. Let me just say that. I am very hyped. Is Here Throne of Liberty is probably published by Amazon. I haven't seen that. No, I know Force Gaming made a video about it. I'll watch that maybe tomorrow or something. I don't know yet. And Ashes plus Riot MMO. Well, I'll talk about Ashes. Like, let me go ahead. I gotta take a piss and then I'll come back and we'll talk about this. Shit! Is it broken? No. Who cares? I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. The fuck? This thing got knocked down. God damn it. Let me see. Alright, we're good. Okay. Oh, this is the wrong way. Oh, shit. It fell down again. Give me. Fucking piece. Shit. Come on. Come on. Alright, we're good now. We're good now. Sorry about that. Had some bullshit. Is it Big Sword Gamma time? It will be soon. Let me just talk about this a little bit more, right? And check out the call cinematic. Okay. No, I haven't watched this. Okay, let's see it. By the way, like, for the amount of hype that this game has, this came out fucking 7 months ago. It has 138 million views. If you compare that to the Dragonflight announcement, it has 2 million views. Now, obviously, like, you combine these two realistically, because of the way that, like, I know people like to be negative about WoW, and I get that, but like the way that YouTube views are calculated is different because this was a live stream that was a premiere that then went live afterwards. So you would add in these two numbers together. However, what is that? 5 million? Less, it's still less than 5 million. Compare that to this, it's got 138. Is the difference between 5 and 2, does that really matter whenever you're talking about comparing it to 138? No, it doesn't. Okay, let's watch this. Here we go. Popularity doesn't necessarily mean it's good, though. No, it doesn't mean that it's good, but it means that they are more willing to invest. So the reason why being popular is good is because it means that the company will be willing to invest a tremendous amount of money into making the product the best it possibly can be, because they can get that many people to play it. And also, whenever there's a tremendous amount of people playing a game, you can make more money. Like, basically, like, gacha games and, like, pay-to-win games, they make money by not having a tremendous amount of people that play them all the time, but the people that do play them a lot pay a lot of money. But the reason why League and Valorant can exist as like a free-to-play game that has competitive integrity is because so many people play them. It's a matter of scale.
To the fallen, leave me to be with the broken one last time before I
So this is the desert area.
hold the last burning ember lanterns.
And this is the guy.
Rise up to the call for the glory and the
This is cool. Holy shit. They beat the fuck out of them. Oh shit. Will he live after getting knocked off the whole mountain?
For the beat and the broken, for the lost and forsaken, let us never
He's a god. He just doesn't give a fuck.
Now we rise unto the call.
They ascend? I thought he... Okay.
For the glory and the fall.
Yeah, that was cool. That was pretty fucking cool, man. But I wonder what happened with the guy that just went up into the sky. But yeah, that guy, like, I'm glad that like finally there's like this game and like this universe actually has warriors that don't just die. You know what I mean? Like, thank fucking God. He's a demigod? Yeah, exactly. Is the aspect of war? Yeah, it seems that way. I guess it didn't make sense to me because I like my understanding from the other video was like you had to go up there and I assume you had to go through the portal to become like aspected with the power, but what the fuck do I know, right? I have no idea. And the guy with the spear is going for Orion's soul. I see. Yeah, I mean, I think this shit's really cool, man. Like, also, like, I mean, the cinematics look great. I mean, fuck, like, a lot of these scenes are really, really fucking good, man. Like if you pause and you actually look at any of them, they're really, really awesome. And so I like it a lot, man. Part 2 is better. Is there a part 2 for this or what? No? Okay. Yeah, Riot Cinemax are unmatched. Yeah, I think these are really, really good. I'll watch more of them later. I don't want to watch a whole lot of them right now, but I'll watch more of them later on. But yeah, Vigorous, I hope the office is nice. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just, bro, I hope that I hope it's good. I mean, I think this is like one of those situations where it's like, everything is in there, like they have everything that they need to succeed, right? They have a tremendous, massive existing fan base. They have a apparently gigantic fucking world that I didn't even really know like 95% of. They have amount, like it's a huge company. So because it's a huge company, they can spend a tremendous amount of money. They don't have a history of games that have pay to win in them. So it's like every single time, like, you know, one of these games comes out, that's what people worry about. And it seems like, you know, they have they have the foundation, they have the resources, and also like they have proven success too. Valorant is a great game. League of Legends is a great game. Everybody hates League of Legends, but they still play it. So it's like, I feel like they've made a number of very, very good games, and they've kept up with those good games. And so they don't have a balanced team. That's what you think. See, you think they don't have a balanced team, but you don't understand what their balanced team is trying to do. Their balanced team is not trying to make all the champions perfectly balanced against each other. They're trying to switch it up regularly to make the game, you know, more dynamic. That's what every game does. I mean, it's the same thing with WoW, and yeah, they shift metas constantly. That it's not perfectly balanced on purpose. You gonna actually play the game or just watch it? I don't know. I mean, like I'll play this game whenever it comes out for sure, man. Absolutely. More dynamic, like everyone playing the exact same character. Well, I don't know. But the thing is that clearly League of Legends is the best in terms of the amount of people that play it, at least. League of Legends is by far the biggest MOBA. It is by far, and it's not even remotely close. Like, Dota is very big. League of Legends is on another level. So it's like, I mean, you could say they do a bad job, but if they do a bad job, it's almost worse than all the other games. People will be playing the other games. They're not. So there's something to it there. And so Dota players in shambles. I think Dota's fine. I don't have anything against Dota. I'm just saying that League of Legends is infinitely more popular. That's all there is to it. And so Fortnite best game. If Riot was, or sorry, if Epic was gonna make a game that was, you know, like built off the Fortnite universe, it was something else, I would be confident in it because I think Fortnite is good. And also Fortnite is one point of success. What I'm saying with Riot is that they've had multiple points of success. Like they had, like, it's the same thing with like Blizzard. You've got to keep in mind, like whenever World of Warcraft came out, Blizzard had they had Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2, Diablo 2, StarCraft, and Brood War. All of those games had come out before World of Warcraft. So they had multiple dubs. Whereas, like, yeah, Fortnite just one dub. Legends of Runeterra is pretty fun as well. Yeah, sure. And League turned base RPG is pretty good, so is Arcane. Yeah. And Epic has Unreal Engine. I mean, the graphics matter, but the graphics here look great too, so, like, what's the problem? Epic has Unreal Engine and Gears 1 through 3. Yeah, I mean, Gears of War was great. I mean, for sure. Like, I love that game. So, yeah, I mean, all I'm really trying to get at here is Epic Games have always been good with Unreal Tournament, Gears of War. Yeah, but like that's the thing is like, what I'm saying is like, you got to keep in mind like with Warcraft 3, StarCraft, and Diablo 2, all of those games came out within like 5 years of each other. Like in all in a 5-year span, something like that. I don't remember like the exact dates, but like it was something like this. Like you're talking about 20 years. And so yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is that I think that every Riot game that they've made has been good. It has been good. It has been extremely popular. It's like they don't have like a lot of L games. So yeah, you watched the new Genshin video? It's so good. Give me a second. This is like the 10th. I'm gonna permaban you. You're permanently banned for asking that. I read, like, please, if you ask a question 3 times in chat and I don't answer it, there's a reason for it. I probably read it and I don't care. So if you do it more than that, you're annoying me. So yeah, it's not that I don't want to watch it, I just don't want to be annoyed. That's all. So yeah, I mean, Genshin people are fucking weird. It has nothing to do with Genshin players. Everybody does this. People did this with this video, with the fucking, whichever the one that I just watched was. The Riot MMO. Yeah, they do that everywhere. It's a Twitch thing. Maybe if I pester somebody long enough, they'll do what I want. No shot. Parma, I wasn't sure if you saw it. Bro, 10 times, 15 times? Like, how many times? The thing is, like, I just don't like to deal with annoying people. Yeah, I don't like to deal with annoying people. And so if somebody is annoying me, I just ban them and that's it. I don't think about it. They get unbanned later on if they want, if they realize what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, fuck. Yeah, I'm not about that, bro. And so yeah, I don't want to talk. Who gives a fuck about that? Anyway, so these look great. These look fucking amazing. Like, I'm very excited. I'm very, very, very fucking hyped for this. Much more so than what I was before. Yeah. And then define annoying people. Someone asked, they want to show you something cool. Bro, if you have to ask if you're being annoying, I'll ban you for just asking. Nope, I banned just because you asked, you don't know. Nope. Nope, no shot. Ring of Power trailer? I don't really know, like, if I really want to talk about that today. Like, the fucking, Rings of Power. I just don't know if I give a fuck about it that much. Like, here's the thing that... I'll talk about the... oh yeah, the TwitchCon thing. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me go ahead and I'll pull that up in a second here. And, so no troll tolerance stream? Yeah, I just don't even... And so, yeah. Put a massive sword in game for you? I think they're gonna have multiple massive swords in this game. It looks like that way. It certainly fucking does. And so, the Rings of Power... I think that a lot of the... You know, what people consider like the inclusion stuff, the woke stuff and Rings of Power that people perceive. I don't really think this matters that much, but it does matter in a way that it indicates that it is more important to the people that are making the show that the show exists in the context of current society. This is not about telling the story as it is. This is about putting their spin on it and telling it in their way. And what I worry about is that that's going to lead to the Rings of Power being Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones. Like, I don't, like, there is nothing in Tolkien's work, in my opinion, that would indicate that's what the direction that he would want it to go in. That I am aware of. So that's the way that I see about it. Now, I hope that it's good. As a massive fan of Lord of the Rings, I really, really, really hope that it's good. However, I'm not necessarily going to assume that it will be. I'm not going to assume that it's going to be bad either, but there's nothing that the show has done so far that will that makes me think to myself, oh, it's gonna be good. Yeah, I'm not hopeful, but I'm not expecting something great, but I'm hoping that it will be good. That's the way I see it. Game of Thrones season 1 through 5 was Pog, though. You want to know why? It's because the guys that did Game of Thrones didn't put their own opinion in it. They just took what George R.R. Martin did in the book, and they put it in the text. You know why? That's why Sin City was really good, too. If you listen to the dialogue in Sin City, and then you read the graphic novel, it is the exact same word for word. Yeah, George R.R. Martin and fucking Frank Miller. I think it's Frank Miller that did Sin City, right? Robert Rodriguez directed it, I believe. It's been a while. They're the ones that are the fucking famous writers. Not two dipshits that get hired by Netflix. Just keep that in mind. And I don't think either one of them would fucking go and change Tolkien's stuff. I know George R.R. Martin was not happy that Gandalf got resurrected, and to be honest, I can see why. Hard to compare, it was so over the top. Yeah, let's see. Your Game of Thrones book, Daenerys had chronic diarrhea, couldn't stop shitting. Yeah, I don't care about that. Like, I mean, there's obviously some things that shouldn't be in the book. Everybody knows that. I mean, the Scouring of the Shire wasn't in Lord of the Rings. And Saruman of many colors was not in Lord of the Rings. Fuck, like, let's see, what else? Like, yeah, Gandalf, like, what else was not in there? Like, fucking, Tom Bombadil was not in there. Yeah, true. Faramir was butchered. My understanding is that Faramir is, in the true Lord of the Rings, is much more of a, like, there is no moral ambiguity with Faramir at all. Like, he's viewed as, like, pretty much the good guy in all ways. Yeah. Tom Bombadil's a joke character? No, I don't think so. I think Tom Bombadil and Ungoliant are, like, representations of, like, primal forces in Arda. That was kind of how I interpreted it. But that's my opinion. Jackson emphasized the corruption of the ring, because in the books it's a pretty subtle thing, play out over time. Yeah, I think so too, of course. And, everything did with the Hobbit. Yeah, exactly. We perceive woke stuff. Well, I think that it's not about perceiving in all ways, right? And also, whether people perceive it that way or not, I do think that what I'm saying is reasonable. That if you see that they are willing to change, like, certain casting decisions or other things like that in order to make it more modern, it is not unreasonable to assume that other things will be adapted to be more, quote, modern as well. And unfortunately, what modern means nowadays is weird characters that have different levels of moral ambiguity that is oftentimes misunderstood, miswritten, and badly done, and also gratuitous amounts of sex, which I think that is fundamentally not Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's fundamentally not. And, so yeah, adjusting things for modern sensibilities. Well, the problem with modern sensibilities is that most of the time they're not modern and they're not sensible. That's the problem with modern sensibilities. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to go through and argue this or whatever. I don't really care about the casting in the... I remember... You guys gotta remember this. Heath Ledger, you know the last movie he was in before... the last big movie he was in before fucking... what do you call it? The Dark Knight was Brokeback Mountain. And I remember back then, Heath Ledger got cast to play the Joker, and everyone's like, oh, great, now the Joker's gonna be gay. Now they're trying to, at that time, they're like, oh, they're trying to legalize gay marriage, and they're using this as some kind of fucking, you know, crypto New World Order messaging to make us okay with a gay Joker. And this is what people thought, right? This is like fucking 20 years ago or something. And I've been on the internet ever since I was a kid. I was on the internet in like the year 2000, 2001. So like by this time I had already been there for a long time. And a lot of people were very skeptical about this, even though Heath Ledger had like a massive, like fucking cinematography, right? Of movies he had done before then. It was just the most recent one. So like I don't really care. I think it just depends on the quality of it. And yeah, it just depends on the quality, and that's about it. Brokeback was just not just a gay movie. Guys got killed for being gay. You just like, you don't understand. Like, I'm not taking their side. I remember, this is the worst fucking thing on the internet. I remember I watched this fucking YouTube video. And it was a South Park video, and it was Cartman getting in a fight with like a midget teacher. And it's like he's getting in a fight with him, and he's laughing at him and making fun of him. And then all of the comments like underneath the video were people arguing legitimately who was wrong. Was the midget teacher in the wrong, or was Cartman in the wrong? Like, they were actually having like a fucking moral conversation about this. And I realized while I was reading through this comment section, I thought to myself, people have lost their fucking mind. They've absolutely lost their fucking mind. Like, they're actually doing this. This is what they really are. I can't fucking believe it. That's where we are. It's crazy. They're arguing about that. Of all things. Holy shit. And so, yeah, yeah, that's a simple, fun conversation, though. These people weren't having fun. Okay? I agree with you. It's a simple, fun conversation. These people were not having fun. It's important to keep that in mind. Well, yeah, life is too good. They've got to fucking do this instead. That's the internet. Yep, it sure is. So yeah, that's where we're at. And are people bored? They need to start something? Yeah, they got to start something, man. Holy shit. Has discussed moral dilemmas in our show forever. Yeah, but the problem is that, like, a giant douche versus a turd sandwich or whatever it was, back whenever that came out, everyone was just like, haha, true, yep, that's sometimes how it is. And now it's people arguing why their favorite candidate isn't the giant douche, and then the other guy in the comment section is arguing why his favorite candidate isn't the turd sandwich. It's like, oh my fucking god. I can't wait for 2024. It's gonna be fucking amazing. Oh my god. So yeah, that's where we're at. And let's see. Oh, I was gonna talk about the TwitchCon thing, and then we'll go from there. Arcane has a lot of diversity, and it's incredible because it's well written. I feel like something like Game of Thrones has a lot of diversity too, whenever you think about it. I think that aside from Star Wars' character being defined exclusively for being gay, I think they did a pretty good job. You know, I think it'd be amazing seeing that U.S. become a rising dictatorship. Yeah, I think so. Yep, incest is wincest. Well, I think like a good example, like, what I like, you know what, a perfect example of like a character that's like a, you know, like obviously bisexual is Oberyn Martell. Whenever you think of like a top 10 things of Oberyn Martell, being bisexual is not even in the top 10. But it's there. He is, and it's obvious. That in my opinion is perfect representation. It is what it is. Yeah, I thought it was fucking perfect. He's one of my favorite characters. And so let's see here. The TwitchCon thing. Where is it? Let's see how I pull this shit up. It's over here. Yeah, there we go. All right. So a lot of people were not happy about this. So TwitchCon originally got announced, and it got announced, and they said they're not going to ask people to submit proof of like vaccination or a negative COVID test, and people weren't going to have to wear masks. There were a lot of streamers that were mad about this. Yeah, obviously you see the first comment. A lot of streamers that were mad about this and frustrated because they're like, oh, well, I'm immunocompromised, this is unsafe, you're putting people in danger, etc. And so Twitch has come back, and now they're requiring everybody to wear a mask while they're indoors and also have either proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. I think that this is, in my opinion, I think that the way that all of these conventions should just do things to make it simple is just abide by the CDC guidelines. Just be like, yeah, so this is what the guidelines are. We're gonna do what the guidelines are. I think that's the simplest and easiest thing to do, rather than try to like write your own rules. Because of the recent ones, well, CDC is wrong. I think that, like, you can't really know if something is wrong or right in this circumstance until after the fact. You see what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, can't you also make an argument that even doing a convention like this at all is wrong? I think you can. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know why, you know, that people don't just go for the low-hanging fruit. I think that's what's simple and that's what's obvious. More on streamers saying they weren't going. If big streamers don't go, the convention's a bust. Well, I mean, I don't know. To me, I'm not gonna go. I wasn't gonna go before this too. I'm still not gonna go. This had nothing to do with it. Yeah, I wasn't gonna go anyway. So yeah, here that's where I'm at. But yeah, I think they should just use the CDC guidelines, and I'm surprised more people don't just do that, rather than trying to, you know, make their own rules and then get in the middle of it and get people fighting about it, etc. Should big streamers care so much about COVID? I mean, I think as a streamer, you should care about COVID, yeah, especially if you're streaming regularly. Because, like, if you have to take a week off and, like, COVID affects, like, your respiratory, which is, like, you talking, that's, like, a fundamental of your job. Like, COVID could fuck up your voice or your breathing or something like that for, like, a week. Like, having to take a week off of work, that's bad. Especially in, like, a competitive environment like Twitch. But COVID's a Volorb, man. Like, sometimes it fucking kills you. Sometimes it, you know, leaves you with no taste. Sometimes it doesn't do anything. I had COVID. It was unpleasant for a day or two, and then I was back. Other people had it and they died. So that's the way I see it. They're trying to obfuscate from COVID entirely. Well, I don't know. COVID has RNG mechanics. Yeah, true. And kind of cringe to say COVID's worse for streamers than it is for others. I guess, like, whenever I say it in the context of, like, something affecting your respiratory system is, if your job is centered around either working and doing physical labor or talking a lot, I think that, yeah, COVID would affect you more than that. Am I saying that streamers are the real victims here? No. Why are you, if you are listening, if you are hearing it that way, you've already made up your mind about what you think about what I'm saying. Like, you're not looking at this, you're not listening to what I'm saying, you're hearing something else. So yeah, you're twisting what I said. Yeah, just why COVID's bad for streamers. Yeah, exactly. You aren't contractually obligated to go to TwitchCon. No, I'm not. Now, I think other people might be already. Like, let's say somebody's contractually obligated to go to TwitchCon because they signed a contract. Like TwitchCon, you know, whenever they advertise the event, they'll advertise like, hey, you know, XYZ and streamer, all these streamers are going to be there. So like, yeah, the odds are they probably already lined up contracts with those streamers for like meet and greets and stuff like that. And maybe Nick Merckx was one of them. I'm not one of them. And so, yeah. SQC, yeah, maybe they had made it with XQC too. I have no idea. I can't be sure. People agree or disagree here. Well, I think the thing is, if you don't want to do it, just like don't go, right? I mean, I don't know. I think that's simple to me. And you can't expect the whole world to, you know, have your viewpoint on things. Like over here in Austin, Texas, I don't remember the last time I saw somebody with a mask. Nobody uses a mask. Most even food workers don't use masks. Nobody cares, and it's been like that for over a year. Nobody has given a fuck about COVID for a very, very long time here. So it's going to be a bust, I think. Well, there's a good chance that... Well, I don't know. Like, the Anime Expo happened recently, and there were a lot of people that went to that, and I think it had the same rules as this does, so... I don't think that you can necessarily say, oh, well, you know, like, if you do this, nobody's going to show up. Because about COVID, go over it? Yeah, I think a lot of people don't care about COVID. This is... What most people are saying that are not happy about this effectively boils down to... Like, how much longer are we going to have to live our lives... in a restricted state in order to, you know, accommodate 1% of people that are, like, super immunocompromised. People are just tired of living their life in the context of a 1%. I think on the other side, you have people that are like, yeah, well, it's a 1%. And probably forever. No, I don't think so. I think at a certain point, people, and this is already happening, people are just not doing it. That's all there is to it. And so, it has to become virtue signal everywhere. Doctor's office, really weird. Yeah, I don't know about that. And then you have other people that are like, well, just wear the fucking mask, idiot. Just put on the mask and go to the event and don't worry about it. And so it's like, I think there's some truth in both the perspectives. And I think it's like, at a certain point, I think that if you do have, like, immunity problems and things like that, there's a certain level that you cannot expect society to, you know, bubble wrap itself for you to exist inside of it. It's just not fair to everybody else. But also, it's important to just take common sense precautions. Like, whenever COVID was a big thing, I would wear a mask. Even whenever it wasn't legally required. Because it just seemed like it was a smart thing to do. It's common sense, man. Mask is just super unfair, hard to wear. I think people just don't like... People don't like being... It's very simple. People don't like being told what to do. It's that simple. You don't have to make it any more complicated. There's no nuance to it. People don't like being told what to do. And so if you tell them you have to wear a mask, they say, fuck you, no, I don't. And that's it. No one likes to wear them, though? That's obviously not true. People in Korea have worn masks for a long time. It's much more common in Asian culture. So to say that nobody wants to wear them is just a factually untrue statement. Then Japan also, yeah. It's annoying for many reasons. How's it common sense to be told masks work, then they don't work, then double up, then don't double up? Well, because, I mean, a big reason for me is, like, I just think to myself, you know, I look at my desk, and it's like if I'm spending my whole time streaming, I look at my desk at the end of my stream, there's, you know, like little bits of spit everywhere on my desk. Because whenever I talk, saliva comes out of my mouth. So it's like, okay, well, if I wear a mask, that won't happen. Okay, I don't know, I think that's common sense, right? Like, you don't have to be a fucking genius to figure this out. Dude, no, but that's the truth, though, right? I mean, like, that's just, that's what it is. It's disgusting. Yes, it is disgusting. But that's what it is. Except the mask can't filter that small. No, they can't, but I would assume that a lot of the particles would be inside of the saliva. And so if you stop the saliva, the particles would be stopped through extension of stopping the saliva. Like, I think that's what would kind of make sense to me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I never, by the way, I never went around and fucking told people to do anything with COVID. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about science, hardly at all. And so I just stayed out of it. You're making too much sense for me. Yeah, it's people try to find like this different stuff. Proof of vaccination in lieu of a negative test is dumb because the vaccine doesn't prevent transmission of COVID. No, and also like they're probably going to ask for proof of a negative test. The thing is, like, and this is what I was saying before about how if you really want to reduce the amount of people that are going to get sick from COVID, you just shouldn't have the event. But I mean, but it's also like at the same time, like any sort of like harm reduction, anything like this will reduce the chances that people will get COVID at the event. This will 100% reduce the chances if, like, as opposed to not having this. You see what I'm saying? Like 100% it will reduce the chances of people to get COVID. However, is it worth it for people to have to do all this stuff in order for those chances to be reduced? There are a lot of people, like, as we know, our good friend Dimitri here, disagrees with that. And I think that most people here disagree with that. The COVID conversation, it's not a big deal. I mean, it just happened today. So yeah. This is about monkeypox, though? No, it's not. If you get a test and it's negative, why do you have to wear a mask? Well, I mean, the reason why is that what if somebody gives you COVID and then you get COVID and then you're spreading it to other people? It's like a 2 or 3 day event. So what if you get it on the first day and then you are contagious by the 3rd day? What if you test negative and then test positive? I've had friends that have had that happen. They've taken a test and the test didn't work. The rapid test didn't work. They went to the doctor. That test did work. It's like whenever you're asking that question, know that you don't really want the answer. Most of the people that are engaging in conversations about COVID, asking questions about COVID, are not looking for an answer. They're looking for you to say something that they can say, but what about? You can be a carrier without actually having COVID is why. I don't know all the details. I only know what I've read. And that's what I was saying before. What about it? Yeah, nobody's actually asking a real legitimate question here. Why do you want to attend a con? I don't like going out. Like, I don't like leaving my house. People want to go to a massive event, better prepared, wanting to take safety precautions to ensure safety of yourself and those around you. In fact, some bozo thought it would be a good idea, not require safety precautions for the event's baffling. Well, I think it's really just this simple. People don't care and they don't want to wear masks. They don't want to have to deal with the bullshit. They just want to live their life, and they don't care if 1% of people are immunocompromised. If they're immunocompromised, don't go to the event. That's what they think. It's literally that simple. And most people won't tell you that because it's selfish, and it's kind of a shitty thing to say, but it's true. That's grass. Grass is itchy. Yeah, it sure is. I learned that in like 4th grade. No, easy enough. Scientists, doctor, research it. They say use a mask. They say for your own good. And if you don't do it and you die, it's on you. Yeah, sure. Positives outweigh the negatives. See how people making a bigger deal than it is to be. Wear a mask. Be safe. Yeah, I mean, you just decide what you're gonna do. Like, that's the way I see it. Selfish for immunocompromised to go to an event and expect thousands of people to cater to them. I think that's fair to say. I think at a certain point, like, COVID is probably never going to completely go away. But there will be a point where that becomes the norm. And it's already becoming the norm in most places. Yeah, it's already becoming the norm in most places. Like that's all there is to it. And give it 50 more years. Yeah, people are not gonna. They don't care, right? Wear a mask equals no drama. Yeah, but that's like saying, oh, is this a hill you're willing to die on? A hill that you're willing to die on implies that somebody is willing to kill you on that hill. No drama implies that people are going to create drama if you don't do that. And so that's what makes sense. Build up immunity to COVID. All I'm saying is it's never really going to go away. So there will be a point where that becomes the norm. And I think that it already is the norm in most places. That's what makes sense to me. CDC uploading guidelines today. It's basically over according to them. Yeah, I read a little bit of that. As I said, I just think that these places should just use CDC guidelines and move on. Like, that's just that's what I think is the simplest thing to do. Seems like the simplest and cleanest thing to do with the least amount of conflict or controversy. So I'm assuming COVID only kills immunosuppressant. Well, what do you think the odds are? So, like, for example, if you're fat, there's a higher chance COVID's going to kill you. If you're immunocompromised, higher chance COVID's going to kill you. You're always dealing with something that is... you're always dealing with statistics. Like, every person is unique. Every person... Somebody can get COVID to completely healthy, they die. But that's not the norm. So, like, why are you thinking about, like, a fucking fringe case? Think about norms. Statistics are reality. Exceptions are fucking personal. Yeah, that's the way I see it. CDC lifted guidelines on 6 feet distance limit. I don't know. Anyway, that's just generally what I think about it. Over here, as I said, nobody wears masks. That's been like that for over a year. So that's it. I'll read a few comments and that's it. And I'll read a few more. Oh, these comments. Bad decision. Respect the rules. Wear a mask doesn't matter for a few hours. I'm a guy from this lifestyle, including lifting. People's mental up. Looking out those around you. More safety isn't a bad decision. It's more the right decision. I think it's something like you could say, like having metal detectors or having other types of like different ways for people to, be like safe in an event. Some people just don't care about that, and they just want to live their life without having to worry about these things. It's just that simple. And let's see here. Nick Merck's not happy. A lot of people are not happy about it. I think that it really depends. What I would have assumed would happen is that a lot of the people... Thanks, Twitch. I didn't feel safe at the last one, but now I'll feel even more comfortable whenever I come. Yeah, I'm sure they'll let him into this one too, right? Yeah. Resource. Yeah, sure. I think a lot of streamers will probably farm impressions one way or another about COVID and then go to the event regardless. That's what I would say. Watch Lazy PM video? No, I haven't. And when I signed, don't want to be annoying. Think you might like it. Seen Azeroth on Control Murloc? No, I haven't seen it. Did you see Nick Merckx making his own event without master vaccinations? Well, you can do that if people want to go there, and that sounds fine to me. Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about living in a free country, is that somebody can do that, and that's their right to do that. You might think like, oh, well, in this circumstance, I wish they couldn't do that. Yeah, well, I'm sure there's circumstances they wish you couldn't do things too. But you can agree to just fucking leave each other alone, and it's better for everybody. Let's see. I'm gonna get back and do some Gamba in a few minutes. And if I think I'm gonna start watching Nick Merckx. Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of people feel this way. I mean, for sure. Why do so many WoW fans have a Twitter blue heart in their name? It's from the support of the employees during the controversy. That's why. It's like the ABK Alliance thing. So yeah, I'll read a few comments and we're gonna get back to the game. Seems like a lot of people love to suck the authorities' dick, regardless of subject to the hand, relating to it, realize it might diminish their own liberty. Fucking sheeple, man. I don't know. It depends. Like, you should always question authority. I mean, I think, like, for example, the Johnny Depp trial, for example, taught us that somebody who is an authority and an expert on a subject is not reliable, just by the nature of them being an expert or an authority. That's why you have peer review. That's why you have, you know, like, people worship. I think this is like a very bad thing that happens nowadays, is that people worship the outcomes of science rather than the process of science. The process is what is to be held in high regard. The outcomes are transient and oftentimes changing. The scientific method is what is divine, not the outcomes of it. Or even the people that are doing it, especially not the people. Let's give up central rivalry, purchase of safety. Yeah, that's a quote from Benjamin Franklin. In general, I agree with that. But I think that there are also times where people can be a little bit more safe and nobody is losing liberty. I think like, people always like to live their life in the context of some, like, ideology, but the reality is that, like, you just look at the situation at hand, make the best decision possible, and move on. What do you mean I'm not allowed to a Walmart? What do you mean I'm not allowed at Walmart? The funny thing is, Walmart here, they don't give a fuck if you wear a mask. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're like, yeah, it's totally fine. Nobody's protesting Walmart about this. It's crazy. Private event, liberty's not a factor here. Well, I think that people can, it's not. And you can't make people do anything. It's just people are expressing their opinion. People can express their opinion. I think that's okay. No one wears one here, and I'm in California. Well, I don't know. I live in New York City. No one wears a mask. It isn't just a southern thing. Well, I mean, like, I'm in Austin, Texas, so I'm basically in California. Not really. I think you should be able to disagree. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? You can disagree, and Nick Merckx is disagreeing in a way that I think is fine. He's saying, I don't like what your decision is. I'm going to do my own thing, and that's all there is to it. Great. Good for you. I think that's fine. COVID left a lot of people locked in because of social anxiety. I think that's why the internet has been bad lately. Everyone healthy went and got a life. No, I don't think so. I think that the internet has gotten worse because the algorithms that social media creates, people are more likely to stick around and watch something that upsets them. That's just what it is, right? It's like the old Howard Stern fucking thing, right? About them listening to him for 3 hours to hear what he says next. Look it up if you want. I don't want to go through the whole thing. And so you have websites that it is financially beneficial for them to keep people in a constant state of it's like a constant state of high alert, a constant state of high anxiety, a constant state of high awareness and you know, fear, agitation. And it is financially lucrative for companies and platforms to do this. And so that's what's done. And I think that's what happened. I think COVID was an agitating variable. It exacerbated the problem, but it did not cause it. And I think it would have happened sooner rather than later, even though COVID did make it probably happen faster. That's what I would say. Twitter definitely tries to throw what it thinks is going to upset you at most all the time. Yeah, true. 3 people from the past you want to have a sit down with? I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to really think about that. What, do you think people are addicted to being mad more nowadays? No, I don't think it's more at all. I think that the success of 90s TV shows such as Bill O'Reilly and The Maury Show and what's it called? Jerry Springer. I think this indicates that it's nothing that's a new phenomenon. I think it's happened for a long time. It's just that now it's become much more democratized and it's much more accessible. Yeah, Tucker Carlson. Well, Tucker Carlson's the new Bill O'Reilly.